Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another market breakdown. It is Wednesday, December 3rd, halfway through the week. And tomorrow is going to be our last call for this week, just for your information. So let's get started by going through the trade that we took. I've only been in one position this week, which was GBP AUD. GBP AUD we entered on Monday, and price opened, pushed up, and then dropped. We were about halfway to take profit. The furthest we got was a 1 to 1.7, but our full position was a 1 to 2.5. As you can see, price pushed lower. And then we had a news event last night. And if you look at this 5-minute candle, it was absolutely tremendous. Basically took us back to break even. And then price pushed lower, at which point I was like, all right, that's fine. That was probably just a wick out. Price was just retesting previous structure, retesting these two wicks right here to continue to go lower. And it did for another 4 hours. And then I woke up this morning and price was basically at break even. um, yeah, so price pushed up, was at break even. I considered closing, but then I was like, you know what? I'm going to see how the next 4 hour candle closes. And the next 4 hour candle closed really nicely. It closed with a doji, and I was like, okay, cool. So we're just going to continue to hold. Price should just reject and continue to sell. And then the next 15-minute candle, literally shortly after that happened, or as soon as the next 4 hour candle opened, it shot directly upwards, almost hit stop loss. And at that point, I decided if it's stop loss, it's stop loss. And if it's take profit, it is take profit. There's no need to really mess with the position, close early. At that point, we were already almost at the stop loss. So we just held, and price eventually took us out of the trade. So not the best way to start the month, but it happens. And that is all right. So let's get into our breakdown, starting with Bitcoin. As expected, after yesterday's push to the upside, Bitcoin is now heading further up. We pushed up on the 4 hour time frame, retested previous structure, and are pushing higher now. Daily time frame is having a pullback. Daily time frame is currently still bearish, so nothing really changes on Bitcoin. I kind of think we're going to get within this area somewhere, either retesting the daily time frame or retesting the daily area of interest or weekly area of interest and then selling. So that could take another week or so. SPX, I was expecting these three to have a pullback, a deeper pullback before then buying. However, I guess that didn't end up happening. Price kind of hovered above the 4 hour EMA and is now pushing higher. SPX, same exact thing. So at this point, I think price is probably just going to have a continuation. The daily time frame is still bearish here. Here it's bullish, and here it is still bearish. But overall, in my opinion, price is probably just going to break the high and create a new high on the daily time frame, weekly time frame, and 4 hour time frames. Excuse me. So yeah, at this point, I don't really know about like lower time frames. I'm guessing we're just going to continue trading above the 2 hour EMA. As you can see, when we're above, it's pretty clean. When we're below, we sell. I mean, 4 hour time frame is just as good. When we're above, we're buying. When we're below, we're selling. We're currently above. So if price does retest the 4 hour EMA, we might be able to catch some short-term buys or continuation to the upside. Next is gold. So gold on the weekly time frame, bullish engulfing. This week, we're currently kind of in the same place. We haven't really moved much daily time frame. We had a daily rejection candle on Monday, bearish engulfing on Tuesday. And now we're like above this area of support resistance. When we were above, we were buying. When we're below, we were selling. We broke above, we retested, we closed with a daily doji. From here, price can do one of two things. We can either reject and sell to the downside, totally plausible. But what I'm thinking might happen is we might create a small wick to the downside, retesting this area one more time and actually pushing higher. I feel like if we were going to sell, we wouldn't have pushed so high. Like we reacted to the upside very aggressively. So from this area, I do believe that we might just be retesting the EMA, kind of like the way we did over here, where we were, in general, we were moving downwards, but we were retesting the EMA multiple times to have that push in the other direction. So yeah, if we do break below the 2-hour EMA, like a break and retest, proper break and retest, kind of like right here, break, retest, then we might see price selling. However, at the current moment, I see a possibility of buys. So that's what I'm going to be waiting for. Realistically, is going to be that break and retest, probably above some of these EMAs, starting with a 30-minute, 15-minute. If we can get a nice break and retest above, that would be fantastic to see. There's also a lower time frame area of support resistance on the 15-minute, 30-minute time frame right here. You can see how prices retested it literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. So I guess a safer way to trade this would be waiting for a break and retest above this area. That could probably be fantastic to see. But other than that, maybe some short-term sells, but overall longer-term buys. If we manage to close below this area of interest, then chances of us retesting it to sell are pretty high. So we'll see what happens there. Dollar index has now gone bearish on the daily time frame. At this current moment, I guess we can wait for our pullback into the EMA, into previous structure to sell. That would be the best option. Probably going to happen next week, if I'm being honest. We have 2 days left. We might get like a daily pullback. We might sell for one more day or have a daily doji. If we have a daily doji right here, then the next candle could have a pullback and then another pullback, and then eventually reject the EMA and sell. So that could happen next week on Monday or Tuesday, depending on how price decides to move here. But overall, weekly time frame is bearish. Rejected the EMA nicely. Daily time frame is now bearish. 4-hour time frame is very, very clearly underneath the 4-hour EMA. So once again, this pullback could take price to retest the EMA, which will catch up to it right here and then sell. So the dollar should be getting weaker, I think. Yeah. All right. Excuse me. We already went over GBP AUD. We went over the loss that we took. Let's go over the actual trade. So the monthly time frame, we did close with this rejection candle on the monthly time frame. Overall price is very bullish, right? We've kind of retested some of these wicks with the candle that we had. So this wick retested these wicks last week. Now, this week, price pushed down. Let me actually lock this so we can return and look at it at some point. Okay, so I have this like dry cough that won't go away now. So yeah, this week Now that I'm looking at this month, we're probably going to end up closing with a bullish candle, just following what the overall trend here is above the EMA on the monthly time frame. Weekly time frame, did we break below? Yes, we did. But we're failing to stay below the EMA. I think that we're actually going to break back above the EMA on the weekly time frame. Obviously, this could just be a pullback. Let's say on the daily time frame, we might just be having a pullback to retest this trend line. So we have somewhat of a trend line here on the 4-hour time frame, on the daily time frame. This could just be a break of the trend line and retest of the trend line. We're also kind of retesting this 4-hour EMA. And as you can see, the 4-hour EMA gets when it gets retested, price usually breaks above or below and then continues in the same direction we expect it to go. So would it suck to see price push up to here and then drop to our take profit? 100%. Now, we can't really do anything about that because we can't afford to have a humongous stop loss. Like our stop loss can't be above the high. So we accepted the risk when we took the trade. Now we either look for re-entries if price does what we want it to do, or we just sit on our hands and we wait. I'm leaning towards the second option. Now, in terms of structure, like I had mentioned, monthly time frame is bullish. We had this monthly rejection candle. Weekly time frame is currently also bullish. Like we've had this huge push to the upside. We've just been pulling back really, really slowly. And we broke underneath the EMA. Now, I'm thinking that as soon as we manage to break above the daily EMA and go bullish on the daily time frame, then we'll be able to hop on the buys if price does break back above this weekly EMA, right? So if we close with a bullish engulfing weekly candle, then next week we can probably capitalize on some buys in the opposite direction here. Now, in terms of sells, we would have to wait and see what price does reacting into this trend line right here. If we manage to reject it and sell underneath the EMA again, then that's a different story. As you can see, we shifted above the 30-minute EMA. And as soon as we shifted above the 30-minute EMA, price took off. So in order for us to take sells, we have to shift back underneath the 30-minute EMA. Otherwise, we're kind of just going to be like if we sell from here, we might be able to sell into the EMA, but then price will just take us out of the trade. Therefore, we'll have to kind of wait for more confirmation, maybe wait for 4-hour structure. 4-hour has gone bullish now, which is another thing to consider. So our confluences are weekly bullish, daily bearish, and 4-hour bullish. So not exactly ideal for sells. That being said, let's move on. Kind of 50-50 here. We might be seeing a reversal. One thing you'll notice is that price is slowing down quite a lot in this whole area right here. We've been trending really, really nicely. Like just in general, we've been moving down, pull back, moving down. This right here is really, really choppy. And as you can see on the weekly time frame, we've had 4 weeks in the same spot. If we were going to see sells, I think we would have already seen them. And I was expecting to see them this week, but I don't think that is going to happen. So we'll see what happens with all of that. Moving on, USD JPY. Wow, that was a long one. USD JPY weekly time frame is bullish, had a weekly rejection candle, and having a pullback. Now you'll notice that we're kind of in an area where price has sold from, like long term. Is that going to happen to us again? It could. Nothing stopping it from having a push to the downside. Now we could also be having something like this where price is having a short-term pullback only to have a continuation to the upside. So can't really count on anything to be, 100%. Now, weekly time frame is having a pullback, daily time frame is having a pullback. Daily time frame is still bullish, however. So daily time frame is still bullish. One thing you'll notice is whenever we have sold very aggressively from like one of these high points, you'll notice that it happened aggressively, right? We've had a bearish engulfing candle, two very, very bearish days. Here we had a very, very aggressive sell into the daily EMA. Currently, we're not seeing anything too aggressive. It's been pretty consistent. Now, if price tomorrow decides to dump, right? If we dump past this previous structure and goes bearish on the daily time frame, at that point, I will consider this being a longer term move to the downside. And we'll really know if it is as soon as price shifts underneath the daily EMA, right? This is, if you remember the 100 to a million series challenge, it happened right around this point in July. I'm pretty sure this was the exact trade that Alex took. It was either this one right here or this one right here. Happened underneath the daily EMA. And I remember it very clearly because I went back and retested that trade like for hours, trying to see exactly what he was looking at and why he entered the trade. Now, we're not at that point yet, right? We haven't broken underneath the EMA. We haven't retested it to sell. Therefore, we're still looking at a bullish market, more or less. So weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bullish, and 4-hour time frame is bearish. Now, what has happened, right? Why were we looking for buys? Well, yesterday we were looking for buys right inside of this area right here because we were thinking that price was going to break above the EMA, retest, and buy. We were looking for lower time frame confluences to buy simply because we were inside of, let's see exactly where we were. Okay, so Tuesday, we were right here, 5 p.m. So we were above the EMA on the lower time frames, kind of looking at a potential opportunity for lower time frame entries, right? Now, if you'll notice something, notice that we're moving downwards, right? In order to take buys, you would want to see price reject this area, retest a higher area, and then look for buys. Did that happen? No. Price literally just shifted underneath the EMA and continued to sell. So this was never a valid trade. Excuse me. Now we know that price is trading underneath the 4-hour EMA pretty consistently. And therefore, we can avoid taking any buys unless price manages to either create a double bottom inside of this area, or basically we need it to create a double bottom, break above the EMA, retest the neckline of the double bottom, at which point the EMA will push lower, turn around, and give us a support right here in order to take our buys. Okay. As of right now, I'm not interested in this trade for buys. We might need to see a daily doji candle. We might need to see, well, we do need to see quite a few other things before considering any buys on this. 4-hour time frame is bearish. We do have a push to the downside, which has a lower low. We created the lower high, and we're now looking at a potential new lower low. So we have two bullish time frames, which are the daily and the weekly, and the 4-hour is bearish. So not interested at the moment. 4-hour time frame is not in a good place for us to take this trade. AUD NZD, AUD NZD weekly time frame has had a pullback into somewhat of a previous structure, just these wicks here. It is a previous daily structure. So we did reach the EMA, we did reach the previous daily structure, and we're now attempting to break above the 4-hour EMA. So we're looking for the break and retest above the 4-hour EMA. Weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bullish, and 4-hour time frame is currently bearish underneath the EMA. So We're really just looking for price for the sellers to get exhausted and for the buyers to take over. And when we break above the EMA retest, that will confirm that there will be no more long-term selling, and the buyers will now come in to push price back up to the all-time highs. Not all-time highs. I'm pretty sure price has been in a similar area before. Yeah, so all-time highs are way up here. All right, so for this one, this is in a pretty good place. We're just looking for a 4-hour break and retest above the EMA. Retest above EMA. NZD CAD, weekly time frame. Weekly time frame is bearish. Seems like we're disrespecting our area of interest. Daily time frame is bullish, so we actually pushed above the EMA, retested to buy on the daily time frame. So we retested the EMA and the area of interest. 4-hour time frame did the same exact thing, where we were above the 4-hour EMA, retested the 4-hour EMA to buy. So we have quite a few confluences in the same place: 4-hour EMA, daily EMA, area of interest, all sorts of things. Now the 4-hour time frame is now bullish, daily time frame is bullish, and the weekly time frame is bearish. However, in 2 days, the weekly time frame will go bullish if we close in the current position that we're in. So seems like we have found a bottom in this area, which isn't really surprising considering that the market has bottomed out within this block that I just marked up multiple times. It's bottomed out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So chances of us seeing a couple of weeks of buying are not that surprising. In fact, we might go bullish short term, retest the EMA on the weekly time frame, and then shift bearish, and then we'll have the daily bearish, the 4-hour bearish, and the weekly will be bullish, but we'll still be looking for sells because we retested the weekly EMA, and the daily time frame will hopefully create, if we push up to here, we'll have some kind of a double top, shift the structure, and then sell, all at the weekly EMA. So a lot of ways to look at this. We're not really forcing anything. As of right now, I'm not super interested in taking buys. I would rather wait. I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Look at the way the monthly candle closed, right? So the monthly candle closed with a strong rejection candle. At this point, we could buy back for like a week, two, maybe a month, not a week or two, more like a month or two. I don't even know when the last time we had a strong rejection candle like that. I mean, kind of right here, maybe right here. And you can see how strong price pushed higher. So if this is something that you're interested in, it might be a decent opportunity. Your main take profits would be something like this. So right at the weekly EMA or at the monthly EMA, which would be kind of at like this level right here. So those would be your two main areas. Price is clearly moving downwards. So if you want to trade with the trend, you would wait for price to make it to these levels. But if you're not as patient as some, then you could take the counter trend trade, which is now available. You could argue that it's not counter trend, but if you look at the highest of time frames, you'll realize that it is technically against a trend. So at this point, yeah, we're looking at a pullback into previous structure to buy. I'm personally not going to be taking this trade. I'm just not a huge fan of the way that everything here looks. It looks very, very choppy. And when price pulls back, right, on pullbacks, when you're selling, right, you usually get really clean, quick, crisp moves. However, when you're pulling back, those moves can be really, really choppy, really slow, really choppy, and have super big wicks in multiple directions. So this would be what I would look for if I was you guys. But as of right now, I'm not too interested. Euro CAD weekly time frame, monthly time frame, clearly bullish. So the monthly time frame is clearly bullish. We had a monthly rejection candle. Weekly time frame is bearish. Daily time frame is bearish, and 4-hour time frame is now it's still bearish, actually, believe it or not. So right now, I'm not interested in taking this trade. I want to see price actually break and retest underneath this area of interest. It could be a very, very nice move to the downside if that does happen. However, the daily EMA is holding price up very, very well. And so is this support resistance zone. So for right now, I'm going to stay away from this one. You do have multiple time frames that are bearish, but price is currently in the middle of a pullback. So your best options are to wait for price to shift below maybe the 1-hour EMA, retest sell, or probably the 1-hour EMA. As you can see here, the 1-hour holds price pretty well. When you're above, you're buying. When you're below, you shift, retest, and sell. So if that's what you want to do with your three time frames in sync, then that's what you can do. I'm still waiting for the daily or for the 4-hour. It doesn't even matter which time frame. It's mostly, it's going to be a daily break and retest under the area of interest and the EMA. So this one can take quite a while to play out. I'm removing it from the list. Now, if you'll notice, yesterday when we were doing our analysis, the reason why it was on the list is because we were right here. We had a daily rejection candle, and we were very, very close to breaking underneath this area. With this bullish engulfing candle, we're now like twice as far away from where we want to be, and we also rejected the EMA to the upside. So we kind of did this right here, where we were below, we broke above, we had a rejection candle, and then we had a push to the upside. Now, from here, price can very easily push lower. So if that's going to be a trade that you want to take, be my guest. Moving on. Weekly time frame is bullish, but we are kind of like creating a double or triple top. We're retesting this previous structure quite a few times. Like this previous structure and this previous structure right here have both been retested. We have this like support resistance zone being created on a daily time frame, it seems. So you have like a daily / weekly area of interest, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 structure points. So it's very, very strong. And we're failing to break through it. So weekly time frame may be bullish, but the daily time frame is currently bearish. We're underneath the EMA now, and the 4-hour time frame is also bearish. This is probably not a terrible trade, considering that we have this head and shoulders looking pattern. Broke, retested the neckline, broke, retested the neckline, and now you're selling. As of right now, I would look for a daily pullback into the daily EMA to sell. Now, this pullback into the daily EMA would also be a pullback into the 4-hour EMA, retesting somewhat of a previous structure, being this structure right here, maybe all the way up to these two previous structures right here. So somewhere within this area. And that would be the sells that I would look for. The 4-hour time frame is currently bearish now. So you have two bearish time frames, which are your daily and your 4-hour time frame, plus the monthly closed with a very strong monthly rejection candle. So this would be the top of the next moves to the downside. And the monthly time frame is also very clearly bearish. So in my opinion, this could be a decent setup for either this week or next week, and therefore it will be on my watch list. USD CAD, weekly time frame is bearish. Daily time frame is still bullish. It is still bullish, and the 4-hour time frame is now bearish since we broke past this level right here. We created a lower low. So this is the lower high, lower low. As of right now, you have two bearish time frames. If the daily candle closes bearish tomorrow, then we'll have three bearish time frames. So you might be able to pre-fire those sells if you get a decent opportunity. I'm not seeing anything like spectacular in terms of market structure. We're still pretty choppy. We're still stuck inside of this zone here, inside of this trend line. So as of right now, I might just want to wait for a break and retest of these structures here for a sell. So basically waiting for a daily break and retest of, I guess, trend line slash EMA. So, oh, and I guess it would be, yeah, trend line slash EMA slash neckline. So you have a bunch of confluences all within the same spot right there. And then we can kind of get rid of this. So now this is what we're kind of looking at in terms of USD CAD. I don't think that's terrible. Price did pull back very, very slowly. So this could be, and the US dollar is getting weaker. Oh, wait, no, that would mean it was getting stronger. No, that would mean it's getting weaker because if it gets stronger, then price goes up, I think. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right. So yeah, because if you have one US dollar, you can buy less CAD versus you can buy more CAD. All right. Moving on. Try to speed this up now that we've kind of gone through the pairs we were interested in and why we've either switched our analysis or are now looking at something else. Euro CAD, NZD CAD, Euro NZD, Euro USD. Okay, so yeah, Euro NZD is next. Euro NZD weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bearish. We currently have a lower low on the daily time frame underneath the EMA. 4-hour time frame. This really isn't terrible. For sells. 4-hour time frame has a lower low as well. Daily time frame. Now we are still near this EMA, and we do kind of have an area of interest right here. Maybe somewhat of like a trend line. I do not know, but we could reach a resistance within this area. So just be aware of that. As of right now, I like the idea. I like the structure. I like how we shifted and broke and retested the EMA, but it is a very, like, we could easily just push higher, and now we've created a double bottom right here, right? And then all this was a pullback into the EMA, into the area of interest to push higher. And if this does push higher on the daily time frame, then it would create a double or triple bottom here, and then we retest above the EMA to buy. So probably going to stay away from this one for now until we get proper confirmation for buys. Euro USD, seems like we did get that break and retest above the EMA as I had expected, above the area of interest. I just never took the trade myself. Weekly time frame is now having a push to the upside, similar to USD, CHF, and the DXY. This is going to be the inverse or inverted Euro USD. So I do expect continuation to the upside. At this point, our best option is going to be to wait for a pullback into previous structure in order to take further buys. So we just need a daily higher low for the next higher high. I'm no longer interested in sells. And now we have 3 time frames in sync to buy. Moving on. AUD, CAD, we've been very, very choppy on a lot of these markets the past few weeks, and it has been annoying. So hopefully we can get some nice moves going. Weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bullish. We have a push to the upside. 4-hour time frame is also bullish. We have a higher high right here, or higher low, higher high. At this point, you can wait for a daily pullback into the previous structure, maybe into this inverted head and shoulders to buy. That could be a potential move. So just waiting for a daily pullback. Daily pullback to buy. Am I interested in this one right now? Not really. I don't love the market structure. It's not very clean. Doesn't seem very tradable at the moment, at least in my opinion. I like to see moves that are very, very structured. This one is very swift. There's not much good pulling back happening. So going to move on. Here, weekly time frame, creating head and shoulders. Daily time frame is pushing lower. 4-hour time frame underneath the EMA. Price did pull back and push lower once again, giving you an opportunity to enter. However, it was very, very aggressive. Like, I don't know what is happening with these pushes. Pull back, push, pull back. It's frustrating to trade, I'm sure. Feels like your stop loss is getting targeted if you are in this trade or were in this trade. As of right now, I'm just going to stay out of it. Doesn't make sense for me to trade something so choppy. NZD-USD looks like we are currently, so we had the higher high, we had the pullback into the structure. We're creating another higher high. At this point, monthly close with a very, very strong rejection candle. This is why it's important to check the monthly. Obviously, this month I was sick and traveling, so I actually failed to review my monthly candles. But once a month, like as soon as the candle closes, I look through all of them and then I get to decide if this is going to affect my overall decision making for the rest of the month. And these types of candles do. So we might have missed out on a few opportunities here due to that. So you have confluences in the monthly candle. You have confluences in the previous weekly candle, which was a bullish engulfing. And then you have your daily time frame, which shifted above the EMA and retested it. 4 hour time frame clearly above the EMA. If you needed more confirmation, you just wait for the break retest of the previous structure to buy. Very, very clean overall. At this point, I don't know if this is worth entering. I think price is a little bit far gone. But there is a lot of potential upwards momentum. The only issue is we are at a daily higher high. We basically need price to pull back into the daily EMA again or push higher. Say we push higher and then retest an area of interest right here. And then we can kind of take our trade within this area, if that makes sense. So yeah, this would be our area of interest. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 structure points, break, retest. And by the time this retest happens, the EMA will catch up, right? And then we'll take our trade right here to the upside for, I mean, this could take 1, 2 days to push up, 3, 4 days to pull back, and then we hold for 2 or 3 more days. So great move setting up. We just have to be patient and wait for it. As of right now, there's nothing here to trade. And I think a lot of the trades are kind of in the same position right now. Euro GBP, I think, is one of them. Weekly time frame looks like it's trying to sell. Monthly time frame, same thing. Huge monthly bearish doji rejection in an area where there's plenty of them. Weekly time frame had a pullback, beautiful pullback to retest this wick, which is part of this previous structure right here. Also part of somewhat of an area of interest, right? You have 1, 2, 3 structure points. Price pulled back, retested, very, very clean. You probably could have entered after the 4-hour bearish engulfing candle or after price shifted underneath some of these EMAs. 30-minute EMA could be one of them. So you see how price is trading above the 30-minute very, very cleanly. Price shifted, broke underneath 30-minute EMA, retested, engulfed. Easy, simple entry right here. Engulfing candle, stop loss above these highs. Give it 15 pips, just to be safe. And then target the area of interest. That is the quickest 1 to 2 you'll ever get. And realistically, this is a trade that you could hold for much longer than just 1 day. This is a daily shift the structure, pull back, sell. This is the lower low, however. So that is something to consider. But yeah, at this moment, I don't know. At this moment, I think that we're actually going to be seeing a lot more selling happening on this pair in particular. I wouldn't be surprised if the weekly time frame shifted bearish. So yeah, I would just look for price to continue to sell, pull back, retest previous structure, and continue to sell potentially towards the weekly EMA. So yeah, that would be set up in the next week or two. Not interested at the moment, but we would be interested in the sells. GBP USD, same exact thing. We're currently daily time frame has shifted bullish. At this point, we're just waiting for a daily pullback into somewhat of an area of interest. In fact, this was the area of interest. If you look at it, I don't know how we missed this. Wait, what was the issue was, okay, so the issue was, maybe I was the issue. What was the issue? Okay, so the issue was we had only one time frame in sync. That was your daily time frame. No, that was your weekly, daily. Hold up. Weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bearish. Okay, so the daily time frame was bearish. Okay. So yeah, you had one time frame in sync, which was your weekly time frame. Your daily time frame was bearish until this daily candle closed. and the 4 hour time frame was also bearish at this moment, but it was bearish in order to retest the EMA. But yeah, man, that was a fantastic looking potential trade. Monthly candle closed with a rejection candle. Weekly candle had a bullish engulfing, broke above the EMA. Daily time frame had a push, retest previous structure, retest of the area of interest, rejection of the area of interest, rejection of the 4 hour EMA, bullish engulfing 4 hour candle, 4 hour time frame or 30-minute time frame shifted above the EMA, retested it, engulfed, pushed higher. Your entry was like right here. Incredible. And we missed it. So that being said, as of right now, we're just waiting for a daily pullback into previous structure to continue to buy. AUD USD, weekly time frame, bullish engulfing above the EMA. Monthly time frame, incredible rejection on the monthly time frame. Bullish engulfing, daily time frame had shifted bullish above this structure point, had a pullback into the area of interest, into the EMA. We're pretty far away from the 4 hour EMA though. Yeah, GU kind of slipped away. And yeah, price kind of just traded. And in fact, we could have taken some stupid buys right here had we traded in the opposite direction. But we tricked ourselves out of doing that and took a loss instead. So congratulations to us. But the sells were still good. I mean, if you look at it, clean area of interest, pullback, doji, rejection candle, and lower time frame entry signal. Nothing you can really do. You'll win that one 9 times out of 10. Have you heard that one before? Anyways, at this point, daily time frame is above the daily EMA very, very clearly, just looking for a pullback into this area of interest to buy. So yeah, moving on. GBP CAD, GBP CAD. Okay, here we go. So GBP CAD got tired of so monthly rejection candle, weekly had this bullish engulfing last week. Daily time frame had the pullback, and 4 hour time frame had the pullback into the EMA, shifted below the EMA temporarily. But overall, it should have required some balls to take. I'm not going to lie. Pullback, I guess the engulfing. You could have entered after the engulfing, you would have been fine. Personally, I would have tried to enter after the bearish engulfing. Just because I'm that guy. I'm kidding. Maybe after the 15-minute bullish engulfing, that probably would have been a better option. This would have been at 3:30 in the morning, so London session. First 30 minutes of London session, fantastic entry. Price is gone now. So at this point, we're just waiting for a pullback into the daily EMA to buy. Not interested right now. GBP NZD, I'm just looking for one pair that hasn't ran away from us yet. Weekly time frame is bullish. Monthly time frame looks like it has this wick needs to get filled. We've already created the bottom wick for the monthly time frame. Daily time frame bullish engulfing. It sucks that we're underneath the daily EMA, but the 4 hour time frame did shift bullish. We're underneath the 4 hour EMA, but we're above the 2 hour EMA, the 1 hour EMA, the 30-minute, 15-minute, so on and so forth. At this point, I would just look for another bullish engulfing, really just a lower time frame pullback engulfing, and we might be able to take this one all the way because we have weekly time frame, which is bullish, and 4 hour time frame, which is bullish. We have the pullback, we have the rejection, and yeah, this one might be ready quite soon. Okay, so we've done AUD USD, GBP CAD. I think GBP CAD. Oh, we did GBP CAD. All right, JPY and CHF pairs. JPY having a deeper pullback now. Talking about the monthly candles here, none of them have any rejections. They look like more of continuation candles. Across the board, each one of them is a continuation candle, meaning that rather than having a rejection candle and seeing more sells, we're probably going to be seeing continuation. So weekly time frame, bullish engulfing, push up, continuation, continuation. This was a doji last week, causing this week to have a pullback. I'm thinking we might actually just consolidate for the next day or two. Like UJ out of all the JPY pairs, that's probably because it's a USD pair too. Probably because every other pair except for CHF JPY is kind of already pushing higher. Um, Weekly time frame, daily 4 hour. I still don't see anything like super spectacular. Like here on the daily time frame, we have this daily doji, which could cause for more sells. Um, Getting a lot of mixed feelings about these JPY pairs. Long-term sells on UJ. I mean, I can see the idea behind it, but the thing is, you have this empty space right here on the weekly wick that I don't love to see. Weekly time frame or monthly time frame, you can see how, especially not only the weekly, but look at the monthly, man. Monthly candle has zero top wick. Like if we create a top wick right here, if we have even this much, even if we have just like this much of a top wick, that's enough for this candle to close like this. You know what I'm saying? But until like see these, they're just tiny little wicks, but they're still there. Like weekly candles, maybe you don't need it, but monthly candles, okay, maybe. Yeah, look at this. Even on this one right here, tiny little wick. It's there though. However, on this candle, nothing, just a no wick at all. So chances of us creating a wick before selling are pretty high. Like if we come up here, we create a wick and then we sell, then that's a different story. It would take quite a lot for that wick to get created though. As of right now, I think I'm just going to stay away from JPY pairs. I'll continue watching them. I do like watching and analyzing them. Um, Kind of at a higher high. That played out. This one didn't play out. Still waiting, still waiting. CHF JPY is pulling back, but we have a daily doji, which will probably cause more sells. And then these ones are kind of pushing higher. So yeah, I'm just going to stay away from JPY pairs for now. They are moving upwards very clearly, but they're also very choppy. Like they could be consolidating for weeks at a time or days at a time. NZD JPY had a huge push, had a pullback, and is now having a continuation. I wouldn't be surprised if we just saw a break retest of these structure points right here. You also kind of have an inverted head and shoulders pattern on NZD JPY, which you might be able to capitalize off of. And another thing is you also have this inverted weekly head and shoulders, which price kind of already retested. So you have like a head and shoulders within an inverted head and shoulders within an inverted head and shoulders, which could be potential for bullish continuation. If anything, that might be something I'm interested in. Maybe after this pullback ends, because we can see how we have two rejection candles, bearish engulfing 1 hour candle. If price here pulls back into the EMA, gives me an engulfing or a doji, then an engulfing, I might be interested in NZD JPY buys. Other than that, that's probably all I'm going to be looking at. Moving on to CHF. Let's see how these monthly candles closed. Nothing crazy here. Two in a row, two dojis in a row. Makes me feel a weird type of way. It kind of feels like this wick needs to get filled. Same thing here. Looks like these wicks need to get filled. This one looks like a clear rejection to the upside. And then these ones as well. So I think at the current moment, it could go either way. You could count this as maybe, like for this one, for example, if we were to close with a bearish engulfing candle, this counts as an elbow. You have two candlestick pullback, bearish engulfing candle. However, this could also be the beginning of a complete turnaround where this closes as a nice big bullish candle like this, and then you have a small wick to the downside, if that makes sense. So it could go either direction right now. We're either creating the wick right now or we're pushing to the other direction. We'd have to look at the lower time frames to really tell. And the lower time frames are telling us that the weekly time frame has shifted bullish here. Weekly time frame is still very bearish here. Yeah, USD CHF monthly time frame. Yeah, so I think we're kind of same thing here. We're a bit divided by which direction price can go, and it's consolidating a lot, which means it could have found a bottom, and we might be starting the beginning of a bigger pullback on a monthly time frame, which we'll be buying for days, weeks at a time until we eventually find a top or a higher low or a lower high and then the next lower low sometime next year. CHF pairs, I'm just gonna probably stay away from right now. I want to see a few more days of price action. We do kind of have an area of interest here. So we have this like weekly area of interest, which we are revisiting on GBP CHF, but it's a bit difficult to tell what's happening because we were rejecting the weekly area of interest. Then we have this bullish engulfing. So chances of us, let's see, bullish engulfing, pullback. Yeah, so, and pullback. I'm probably going to wait for another day or two before deciding to trade the CHF pairs actively. Because I don't want to be selling here and then realize that this is just, you know, the pullback for the next leg to the upside. So right now we're just going to stick to the pairs that we do have. NZD JPY will be a lower time frame pullback to sell or to buy, and then GBP NZD. This would be I think this is also kind of the same thing, like a lower time frame pullback to buy. You need your lower time frame pullback plus an engulfing candle. AUD NZD. I want to see price break and retest above the EMA. This one, I want to see a pullback into the 4-hour EMA. So 4-hour / daily pullback to sell on USD CHF. Now, once again, the CHF pairs might be buying. So this is an area of interest where price has bought from before. And if CHF is going to be buying, then this would be a nice area for price to show us that it's going to buy. But until it does that, if it pulls back into the EMA and gives us sells, then we'll take the sells instead. And here we have a daily break and retest underneath the EMA. So I think everything is kind of in order. You have your daily, you have your 4-hour pullback, 4-hour break and retest. So the pullback would go above the 4-hour break and retest. And then you have lower time frame pullback and lower time frame pullback. So that is all for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.